The biggest reason why I decided to dedicate an entire video to the tiger people, and more specifically, the tiger woman mentioned in the World of Ice and Fire book, is how tiger people are an absolute iceberg of a topic. There is only one mention of a tiger woman in the World of Ice and Fire book, yet there is a plethora of speculation around who she is and what role she plays in the Song of Ice and Fire universe. Not to mention, there might be a whole race of a sentient species just like her. So in classic Game of Thrones fashion, fans have taken obscure details and crafted theories about the Tiger Woman that makes an appearance in the mythos of the Great Empire of the Dawn. Here is the passage where she is mentioned. The Bloodstone Emperor practiced dark arts, torture, and necromancy, enslaved his people, took a tiger woman for his bride, feasted on human flesh, and cast down the true gods to worship a black stone that had fallen from the sky. To give you a very brief synopsis as to who the Blood Emperor is and why he is important to Yi Ti's mythos is this. He usurped his sister, the Amethyst Empress, from her throne, and because of how he ruled his people, he ushered in the first long night. His rule, actually, that brought on the long night is otherwise known as the Blood Betrayal. Now that we've talked about him though, let's talk about his wife, the Tiger Woman. Reading the specific passage makes me ask so many questions. Who is she? How did she become his bride? Why did this happen? What effect did this have on the myth itself? Well, luckily for us, there are a few fan theories floating around that we can dig into and explore. The first theory is that she is a human child of the forest hybrid. The basis of this theory is the similarity in appearance between the children of the forest and what we might think a tiger woman would look like. As has been described to us, the children of the forest are typically described as having nut brown skin, smaller in stature than humans, sharp black claws instead of nails, large ears with gold and green eyes slitted like those of a cat. Their movement is also similar to a cat, being described as slight, quick, and graceful. While the children of the forest might be similar to felines in appearance, the second piece of this is the human side of the tiger woman. It's not very far-fetched to suggest that she is a human child of the forest hybrid, because as told to us in the books, Kragan men have been said to have intermarried with the children, but the ability for humans and children of the forest to have children has never officially been confirmed. So it's just pure speculation. But let's say this is true, and she is a human child of the forest hybrid. It makes me ask, what is she doing in Essos? The first thought that comes to my mind is it's not really far-fetched for her to have been human trafficked and sold to the Blood Emperor maybe, but if she wasn't, what was she doing there? Obviously, we have no information, but interesting to think about. The second theory is that she is a shape changer. This is also a fairly straightforward and simple theory in and of itself. If you've never heard of a shapeshifter in Planetos, it's pretty straightforward. Shapeshifters are human magic practitioners that can alter their forms. Many cultures in Planetos mention stories of changers. For example, it is said that Mosavi is the land of shape changers. If you've never heard of Mosavi, it is a forested region of northeastern Essos, close to the Shivering Sea. Some also consider it to be the end of the known world, because beyond the forest of shape changers and demon hunters lies the unknown land. Asshai is also known as the place that welcomes shapeshifters, since no practice is forbidden there. Old Nan's stories also have shapeshifters in them, but they are always evil and villainous according to her. So this pretty much sums up what we do know about shape changers. To speculate a bit on this theory, it wouldn't surprise me if she was some kind of shape changer or magic user in general, because we do tend to see magic and the magical arts in Essos. Yi Ti also has some proximity to Asshai and Mosavi, so she could have come from those areas who also happen to be pretty close to Yi Ti. The third theory is that she uses a glamour, which is another highly probable explanation as well, because if you've never heard of a glamour, it is just a magical item that you can use to change your shape or the shapes of other items. We see Melisandre use a glamour in the books to save Mance Rayder from certain death, and she explains to Jon Snow that this power of glamour or illusion actually comes directly from the Lord of Light. In A Dance with Dragons, a kindly man tells Arya that mummers change their faces with artifice, and sorcerers use glamours, weaving light and shadow and desire to make illusions that trick the eye. This is interesting to me because if the kindly man and Melisandre are to be believed, the Tiger Woman might actually be the sorceress. Now, when it comes to the books, Melisandre is the main sorceress the story interacts with. And since she claims to get her powers from Allure, it makes me wonder, where does the Tiger Woman get her powers from? Does she get her power from Allure? Does she get her power from the Great Other? Or does she get her power from some other entity? Now, when we take a step back, there are a lot of things that I like about each theory, so I'm gonna go ahead and propose a theory that I find to be the most interesting to me. The Tiger Woman is actually a child of the forest who worships the Great Other instead of the old gods. We don't know how she becomes a worshiper of the Lion of Night, but because of this, she's banished from the Westlands and travels to Essos, eventually arriving to the Great Empire of the Dawn and enticing the Bloodstone Emperor to worship the Black Stone and engage in the heinous acts to intentionally bring about the Long Night. It's a really satisfying theory to me because it adds this extra layer of tension. When you think of the Children of the Forest, you think of the good guys. They worship the good gods that do good things, right? But instead we have this juxtaposition of a child of the forest that believes in the quote-unquote bad gods, or the gods that bring death. And to take it a step further, specifically worshipping the Light of Night probably gives her some kind of cool powers that either she uses and or teaches to the Bloodstone Emperor, which could explain why he practices dark magical arts and engages in what becomes the blood betrayal ultimately. So that just adds a little bit more explanation to maybe what motivated the Bloodstone Emperor to initially get into this dark shit and then ultimately pushing him towards becoming a real baddie.